Maple Hollow, Oregon. A tight-knit mountain town where crime is rare and trust is currency. On a quiet October evening, 38-year-old Michael Grant was driving his 10-year-old daughter Emily home from her piano recital. They stopped for ice cream. On the drive back, near a desolate curve in the woods, flashing lights appeared behind them. Michael, a beloved elementary school teacher with no criminal record, was pulled over by what appeared to be two uniformed officers in an unmarked vehicle. When he reached toward his back pocket for his wallet, he was shot once in the chest in front of his daughter. The men removed Emily from the car, leaving no trace behind. By morning, both father and daughter were gone. Only blood and shattered glass would be found days later, deep in the woods. At first, the incident was framed as a tragic but random act of violence, possibly a carjacking gone wrong or an ambush. But things didn't add up. The vehicle that pulled Michael over had no dash cam. No record of a traffic stop existed. The two officers were never identified in official logs. Something darker was unfolding beneath the surface. The case exploded across local media. Laura Grant, Michael's wife and Emily's mother, refused to let her family disappear quietly. Her grief became a rallying cry. She pushed for deeper scrutiny and eventually received an anonymous tip from a retired trooper named James Coulter. That tip turned the case on its head. Coulter revealed that a rogue off-the-books task force was operating in the area under the direction of Detective Howard Vick, a man who had quietly transferred to Maple Hollow after misconduct allegations in a neighboring county. This shadow group, meant to combat rural trafficking, had evolved into something more sinister. They staged traffic stops, profiled drivers, and in several cases people had disappeared, all swept under the rug. Coulter named one of the men likely involved in Michael's stop, Officer Brent Malloy, a junior patrolman with ties to the task force. He vanished 3 days after the incident. Laura hired a private investigator who tracked Malloy's last known movements to an abandoned ranger cabin. There, he found a child's shoe and a torn piece of pink sweater, both confirmed to belong to Emily. As federal agents moved in, the full truth emerged. Detective Vick had a secret. He was funneling information from police databases to pay off personal debts with criminal organizations. When Michael Grant's vehicle was flagged incorrectly, due to a fake narcotics tip inserted into the system by Vick, he used the task force to eliminate what he thought was a threat. In reality, Vick needed a distraction. Michael was innocent, he just looked like someone Vick was trying to frame. Malloy, young and blindly obedient, followed orders. After realizing the mistake, he panicked. Instead of killing Emily, he kept her hidden in the woods, feeding her, trying to protect her from the truth. Vick, desperate to keep the operation buried, disbanded the unit and tried to disappear. But Emily resurfaced. 3 months after the shooting, a waitress in Montana recognized a barefoot, silent girl in her diner. It was Emily. Her recovery was slow, but her memories, once fragmented, painted the final picture. She described the cabin, the uniforms, the shooting, and the man who cried and said, "I'm sorry, I thought your dad was someone else." Howard Vick was arrested at a local police fundraiser, charged with conspiracy, abuse of power, obstruction, and murder. He pled guilty to avoid trial, his empire of corruption fully exposed. Malloy, found hiding under an alias in Idaho, surrendered. He was sentenced to 20 years, with a recommendation for psychiatric treatment. Laura spoke at his sentencing. "He didn't save my husband, but he saved my daughter, and I won't forget that." Emily, now safe, never talks about that night, but her strength speaks louder than words. Laura and Emily moved out of Maple Hollow, but Michael's memory remains. A memorial stands where he was shot. The community gathers each year, not just to mourn, but to remember what unchecked power can do, and to honor the man who was killed reaching for his wallet.